Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. So I saw this morning from Yassine Ark here on Twitter. Bitcoin's 30-day net change of supply liquidity is at its lowest point over this entire bull market, guys, reaching levels not seen since August 2017. So an estimated 77% of Bitcoin supply is currently illiquid, which means it's kept in cold storage off exchanges. And so illiquid Bitcoin, 77% of the estimated supply that is out there. So you guys can see that demonstrated in this chart here, just to kind of give you guys a sense of where it was back in 2017. Here's the stock supply ratios chart. You can see right at the top of the bull run was the last time we saw a lot of liquid Bitcoin up here, and then the market plummeted. Ever since this point here, though, supply of Bitcoin has gone down below this level here. So this is obviously the price in gray and the highly liquid supply in blue. And you guys can see it never really has gone above that mark. So the last time we saw this was way back in here. So before the bull run, before it came back down again, back in August of 2017. Interesting to note, something that we should be paying attention to. Bob SMA down here saying, is that good or bad for price though? After two previous peaks, price did in fact nuke. So he is pointing this out here. We saw the peak from back in April and the peak from back during the last bull run. Andrew Hall down here explaining a little bit further. Maybe this will help from Will Clement's last tweet. Illiquid supply shock ratio has been a good leading indicator over the past few months. Impulses in both directions have resulted in price action following. So he is suggesting that, based on history, based on what we've seen in the past, this has led to an impulse push to the upside as the metric continues to grind slowly upward. Currently at levels previous, a 58,000 Bitcoin watching for another major impulse. So again, this was back from August. But he's just demonstrating that with regard to the same chart here, the supply shock ratio chart. Now we're moving up. So illiquid supply of Bitcoin, to me, if there is demand for Bitcoin and not enough supply, I just think about supply and demand fundamentals here. That just means Bitcoin price is going to rise. If there's too much supply in exchanges and not enough people wanting to purchase Bitcoin, that just means that supply is going down. So an interesting perspective here from Yassine Ark. Just wanted to bring the XRP chart up here real quickly. Not too much to write home about, $1.09 trading right now, so not too much movement. Bitcoin really is the one that we should be following in the space. Let me take off that Fibonacci for a second. Bitcoin trading at about 58,500. And so, this has been an interesting level that we have been paying attention to. After Bitcoin dipped, we were kind of wondering where it was going to go next, if it was going to go further down to the downside. Was this going to be the last all-time high, $69,000 for Bitcoin? But now we're realizing there are more interested buyers for Bitcoin. So we have been seeing it just kind of hover in and around this area here. Let me just zoom out on that trend and throw that Fibonacci back up here on the most recent trend for Bitcoin. So you can see we are hovering at the 0.786, finding that resistance right there. Still kind of indecisive though. We still haven't seen that conviction for Bitcoin to the upside. We haven't seen that clear move that would suggest that Bitcoin will make new all-time highs. It may take still a few days, a few weeks, maybe even a couple of months. So we got to keep our eye on that. The other day, what I also demonstrated was this pattern here, the same kind of shark teeth pattern that we saw back in February through April, give or take. We can see that if we superimpose that on here, could we see a similar pattern, right? Could we see that similar push to the upside? And then could this be how the Bitcoin rally ends? If we were to take this from a time perspective, this would bring us to about mid-December, so about a month away. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but it is another interesting point that we should be paying attention to. The other thing that I just want to demonstrate here on this chart, let me take that off auto. Let me get rid of that Fibonacci here for a second. Wanted to bring this all the way back to the 2017 bull run and put a Fibonacci on this entire trend here. The other thing I wanted you guys to pay attention to is that if this were the case, this would in fact bring us up, completing that full Fibonacci extension. So you guys can see that up here. It would reach the top of the fib. So again, an interesting pattern that we should be paying attention to, I think, at this moment in time. Inflation is hitting all countries, guys. I did a video just yesterday. I don't know if you guys caught it. I'll link it up here if you guys are interested. Hillary Clinton did come out and discuss how cryptocurrencies could be threatening US dollar dominance. Well, to that same theme, I found this clip here courtesy of Real XRP Boy on Twitter. He says, "Oh my, I say put all that useless fiat currency into a useful digital asset and supercharge Ripple XRP. I kind of agree with him on this. I wanted to play this video for you guys. This gentleman talks a little bit about China, what's happening there, and how the world was going to recalibrate the SDR come October of 2021. So this was from a few years ago. Some of the things that he talks about here definitely pertain to what's going on today. Let me play you this clip again. This was from a few years ago, but listen to what he says and how eerily accurate it is to today's climate.
The SDR is supposed to be based on the amount of the U.S. world economy that you control, and so right now China is way underpriced, and so what we have happening is in October the SDR will again be adjusted again in October 2021, and with the yuan becoming full value. What happened is they permitted it in, but at a smaller value than what it should be according to the rules of the IMF. But by October 2021, the Chinese yuan will be valued at the full amount, and they will then receive voting rights consistent with the size of their economy. What do we believe will happen by that time? China will be wealthier than the United States and have more economy than the United States. And will be actually much bigger than the United States in the as far as in their value in the SDR. So what we're seeing is that there's going to be another adjustment. We had one adjustment. They only do it every 5 years. We have another one coming in 2021. How is our government going to deal with these dollars coming back to the United States of America? Here's what they're going to do. U.S. citizens are going to be required to buy U.S. Treasury bonds in their retirement accounts. And in the government, it'll be in the federal government retirement accounts. Will be done automatically. You have to put a certain percentage or 50% or whatever it is in U.S. bonds. And why? Because that's one way they'll try and soak up all of this U.S. Treasury money that's coming back the United States. They will get U.S. citizens to be buyers of treasuries instead of stocks in their retirement accounts. This will be done by law, I believe. And then what always happens when a major currency reset happens, which we've had them every 50 years in the world? What happens? War.
Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. What happens when we see a major currency reset? War. Now, some may think of war as traditional war. Others may think of war as psychological warfare, emotional manipulation, and I think I'm going to leave it at that, guys. Interesting, though, what this guy says here. I'm sorry, I don't know who this gentleman is. It looks like he is teaching a lecture, though, and again, from a few years ago. But think about that for a second. U.S. citizens forced to buy U.S. Treasury bonds in their IRAs. He was predicting that this could be put into law. We haven't seen it yet. But it is an interesting perspective, especially when you put that into context with what Hillary Clinton was just saying the other day, protecting U.S. dollar dominance. This is a bigger game, guys. There are so many moving parts to this. And so, this is just another piece of the puzzle. Wanted to thank Real XRP Boy for pointing that out. Wanted to bring this up, guys, from T-Hole Benedict XRP. This has to do with Ripple customer TerraPay. So TerraPay strengthens its position in the Americas by launching services in Mexico and 15 other Latin American markets. So TerraPay, a leading global payments infrastructure company, bolstered its operation in the LATAM region after successfully launching in the US and Canada earlier this year. Today, TerraPay's technology compliance systems and local partners enable their clients to conduct transactions cost effectively and seamlessly on any bank account in the following countries. And so this article particularly does not give us that list. However, TerraPay has established itself as a global partner to leading banks, money transfer operators, money wallet operators, and financial institutions to facilitate digital transactions without borders. Of course, courtesy of RippleNet. As a B2B company, TerraPay partners with other businesses and helps them leverage its agile, secure, and scalable technology platform to enhance their customer proposition for remittances, payments, and cross-border spends. So more reach from TerraPay into 15 new Latin American countries that they have not previously been operating in. They tried out Canada and the US earlier this year, and clearly that seems to be a success. So why not roll out into more countries, especially where remittances are very important? 15 Latin American countries. Great news here for Ripple partner TerraPay. Wanted to thank T-Hole Bedik for pointing us to that. This next news article, guys, I thought was kind of interesting. Crypto Dash brought this to my attention. This has to do with the NFT market. And, I've always kind of thought this. NFTs, why not just right click, copy, and paste digital art? I mean, if you want a copy of an image, it seems pretty easy over the internet to get that. Well, Piracy website offers NFT art as free downloads. This just seemed to be the next logical step, didn't it? This is coming from the BBC, and they're talking about the NFT Bay. I don't know if that is just a clever Photoshop job or if it's actually on the Pirate Bay website specifically, but you guys know Pirate Bay. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of it. They use peer-to-peer systems so you can share music and movies. NFTs now are digital tokens that proponents say can prove ownership of digital items, including artwork, and many have sold hundreds for thousands of dollars, and this is why I can't wrap my head around them. But apparently now Pirate Bay, or rather a website modeled around the Pirate Bay, created by Jeffrey Huntley, who created the NFT Bay Piracy website, said he wanted to show people what they were buying. As reported by tech news site Motherboard, Mr. Huntley's website is modeled after the Pirate Bay, a well-known software and movie piracy website. The NFT Bay purports to offer all NFTs from Ethereum and Solana to cryptocurrency networks. Critics of NFTs point out that anybody can access, download, and copy the digital artwork attached to the token of ownership. So now we're seeing these websites pop out. Of course, NFTs had to be popularized before we wanted to steal them, I suppose, not me. I say we as a collective, as a society. But now you have the NFT Bay, and so people can go here and download a version, not the original version, but download a copy of famous NFTs to see what they look like. NFT art right now is nothing more than directions on how to access or download an image. The image is not stored on the blockchain, said Mr. Huntley. However, proponents of the cryptocurrency say owning the NFT carries clout and bragging rights. So you can always claim that, right, if you own the original art. Anyway, just thought this was a fun article for a Saturday. Wanted to keep moving, guys. This is from Stephen Chip from the On the Chain podcast. Wait, are you saying Gary Gensler is a massive hypocrite? Retweeting out Stefan Hubert's tweet here. We know Gary Gensler, the chairman of the SEC. You were a respected professor at MIT, where you taught your students that there needs to be more clarity on crypto regulation. So he is just pointing out Gary Gensler's mandate here. Blockchain technology has a chance to lower costs, lower risks, and remove unnecessary middlemen in a global financial system. But the question is, how do we move forward? First, what's needed, and a lot more clarity in the marketplace. So just kind of outlining here some Gary Gensler comments from his MIT days from back in 2018 to bring clarity to these markets and review all large cap tokens is appropriate. And what about Ether and Ripple? Might they each have been investment contracts or non-compliant securities offerings when sold? So questioning all these things from back in 2018. Yet the hypocrite portion of this, as Stephen Chip mentions, is that now he is at the head of the SEC, and well, do I have to really tell you the rest? Another Gary Gensler point here that I thought should be brought to light was this from XRP Crypto Wolf. Gary Gensler is now hiring his MIT buddies. What could possibly go wrong with that? So this just out, guys, from yesterday. The move could signal changes to rules governing payments and overflows. The SEC appoints Hoxiang Zhu to run its trading and markets division. That's right, the SEC announced just yesterday the appointment of MIT professor Hoxiang Zhu as director of the regulator's Division of Trading Markets, which oversees security exchanges, credit rating agencies, and other institutions critical to market structure. The work of our Division of Trading and Markets links the investor in our capital markets with those companies seeking to raise money, hire employees, and grow. This coming from Gary Gensler in a press release. Hoxiang brings the SEC deep expertise and commitment to the agency's efforts to enhance and update the rules to continue to maintain markets that are the envy in the world. I'm excited to welcome him to the agency. So you see how these public-private bunny hoppers tend to work, right? I did a video about Gary Gensler and his bunny hopping practices. If you guys didn't catch that, I'll link that up here in the top right-hand corner. Well, now you can see MIT professor and I'm sure close colleague Hoxiang Zhu participating in this bunny hopping activity, moving from the private sector to the public sector. And that wasn't without the help of Gary Gensler. So We're going to keep an eye on this. We're going to see how this rolls out. Wanted to thank XRP Crypto Wolf for pointing that out. This one here, guys, coming from Martin Volk. Ripple X exec says ODL is a killer value proposition for RippleNet. Now, this is an AMB crypto article, and this had to do with a Monica Long interview with Tony Edward from Thinking Crypto. If you guys don't watch the Thinking Crypto podcast, it's a really great podcast. Tony has some great guests on there that he interviews. Well, Monica Long was on just recently, so here's just a synopsis. One of the things they talked about was ODL, calling ODL the killer value proposition to RippleNet. Long explained, so you know, ODL's been in the market for a few years now, and Q3 was definitely, the most outstanding. And the volume through ODL grew. So if you compare Q3 2021 to Q3 2020, it grew 25 times and more than 130% quarter over quarter. Long added, and now it's available in more than 20 countries, and some of the big ones being US, Mexico, Philippines, Japan, Australia, so on and so forth. So really just kind of bolstering up ODL and kind of emphasizing its importance and the value added proposition that ODL does bring to RippleNet. 130% over the last 12 months from Q3 of 2020. Compare that to Q3 of 2021. Of course, we know Ripple onboarded more customers. Of course, we know this was in the middle of a global pandemic. So kind of the perfect fertile ground for Ripple to really thrive. I don't think anybody in this space in 2018, 2019 thought that it would go down this way, but of course, the pandemic did really help not only RippleNet, but RippleNet-enabled companies conduct more business cross borders, and when you have that seamless option, it's going to be hard to go back to that old technology. So that just briefly from Monica Long. If you guys want to catch the full interview, I don't have the tab up here, but you should check out Tony's channel, Thinking Crypto, and I will link this article in the description too, if you guys are interested to read further. Something else I just wanted to mention here, guys, from Crypto Dash here on Twitter, and this allegedly came from a recent JP Morgan document, them claiming that if Ripple wins the SEC lawsuit, XRP is poised for significant adoption. So I gotta thank him for tagging me in this. The Financial Feeds article reads as such: if the company is able to win the SEC lawsuit and trading resumes on major cryptocurrency exchanges like Coinbase, XRP is poised for significant adoption. And guys, I have no doubt, even just zooming out on the XRP chart without significant adoption, this is what the price of the coin has done since March of 2020. Now, I know it has not performed as well as other cryptocurrencies, but you got to think, even with the lawsuit, XRP has rallied over 800% since March of 2020. Okay, that was kind of the reset point for all markets after a huge collapse. We have seen other cryptocurrencies go beyond their all-time high, but this just means, at least to me, that XRP right now is still a pretty good deal considering we have not seen it reach its all-time high yet. Right now, XRP is just kind of hovering in between the 0.236 and the 0.382 on the charts. But here's what JP Morgan had to say, and I'm going to bring up the official document in a second. JP Morgan's North American Equity Research Report published earlier this month puts XRP in the spotlight, even stating that the digital asset is poised for significant adoption. Well, the price of XRP has fallen in recent days, along with the rest of the cryptocurrency market. Ripple Labs has been working nonstop in signing new partners. As we all know, they talk a little bit about XRP versus Swift, so I'm not going to go over these details. We know about that. But here it is, XRP versus stablecoins. Then, the JP Morgan document explained XRP's unique value in comparison to stablecoins, using the words of Ripple's Senior Director of Global Operations, Emi Yoshikawa. Here's a quote: "The role of XRP as a bridge asset in international settlement is not competing with stablecoins, but on the contrary, it is complementary. XRP is not pegged to any underlying currency, unlike stablecoins, which follow their underlying currency's volatility." So, JP Morgan actually echoing Global Operations Director Emi Yoshikawa and stating that XRP could be used as the world's bridge asset and will be complementary to what is going on with stablecoins, will be utilized to indeed transfer value. And notice what they're saying up here, guys. If they do indeed win the lawsuit, this is going to mean significant adoption for XRP, which will ultimately mean significant value added, significant demand for XRP, which ultimately means, guys, price appreciation for the XRP cryptocurrency. Okay, this all hinges on a lot. Nevertheless, it is important that one of the major banks in the United States is now claiming this, and they claim this in a report issued here. Jungle Inc. actually brings us some screen grabs of this report, and he's giving a shout out to XR Pizza here, who I think originally found the report down here. I will link this tweet thread in the description if you guys are interested in reading the full thing, but I believe it was down here where they mention it. Was it, well, stablecoins present an alternative cryptocurrency application for cross-border payments. Their volatility follows their underlying currency's volatility. XRP, in contrast, is not pegged to any underlying currency, and then they mentioned the Emi Yoshikawa, Senior Director of Global Operations at Ripple, elaborated on Ripple's unique value compared to stablecoins, and then the quote here, the role of XRP as a bridge asset in international settlement is not competing with stablecoins, but on the contrary, is complementary. So you guys can read this statement here from JP Morgan, an interesting perspective. You guys can see up here from November 5th, 2021, so earlier this month. Also note too, guys, and I almost forgot about this, Tag has reminded us of this on Twitter. Remember when ex-JP Morgan regulatory exec joined Ripple's board just a few days before the SEC filed their complaint against Ripple? So for those of you guys who may not have been in the space or may not have remembered this, ex-JP Morgan regulatory exec joins Ripple's board. So just down here, yesterday, Ripple appointed former JP Morgan Chief Regulatory Affairs Officer Sandy O'Connor to its board of directors. There's an ongoing question of whether XRP is a security, and let's not forget the timing of this article before the lawsuit was actually announced, just a few days before that. Combined with Ripple's recent threat to move its US headquarters overseas due to a lack of clarity, O'Connor will provide Ripple counsel on regulatory and governmental matters. So Sandy O'Connor, originally a JP Morgan exec, helping Ripple with the clarity, helping Ripple with their case. Of course, it has been almost a year now since that lawsuit was brought on by the SEC. A lot of these developments are moving in the right direction, though, and this latest JP Morgan equity research paper, originally published earlier this month, even gives me more confidence that banks will jump on board once the lawsuit is clear. That's just my opinion, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.